Hello, thank you for coming to my session. I'm Ryosuke Oniwa, Associate Professor for Faculty of Medicine, University of Tsukuba, Japan. In this session, I'm going to introduce kata in Japanese traditional martial arts as methodological tool complementing science to communicate, represent, deliver, transmit, grasp, comprehend wisdom and knowledge. In this clip, I will discuss three subjects. First, what is kata? Second, kata in EIE. Third, methodological characteristics of kata. Kata is a kind of fixed form, type, pattern, model, style, make, convention found in Japanese culture, traditional culture, such as kabuki, no, tea ceremony, traditional poem styles. Of course, we can find it in traditional Japanese martial arts, such as karate, aiki, aikido, kendo, iaido, yawara, judo, etc. We can find similar kata in Chinese martial arts as well, such as in Tai Chi Chuan as Tao Lu in Chinese name. Let's take a look at an example from karate. Karate is now popular for learning techniques of free hand fighting. And in Tokyo Olympic 2020, we had karate match in kata style and kumite style. Kumite style is a style for fighting with opponent. Full contact style is also popular in karate now. And for the athletes of mixed martial arts, karate is very popular as one of the popular background of them. This karate was originally developed in this island, nowadays Okinawa Prefecture in Japan. It is said that in Ryukyu Kingdom era, karate original style was developed as a result of the mixture of Ryukyu original martial arts and Chinese martial arts and Japanese martial arts. At that time, learning is mainly on studying kata. Okay, so let's take a look of kata. This is me. Haha. Okay, like this. How do you feel? It looks dancing? Yeah, somehow looks dancing. Is it for real fight? Can you imagine the situation we can move such way in real fighting? I think not. So what is this kata for? Next example is iai. Iai stands for E and I. E means stay, and I means synchronize. In iai, we learn techniques to defeat opponents by sword from the position wearing sword insists, like this. In practice, we use real Japanese sword like this. And iai was systemized in 16th century in Japan. Why do we need to study kata? Actually, kata is for comprehending and internalizing the wisdom and knowledge. Take a look of an example from iai. This kata is from Hokiryu style. Drawing the sword, then thrust. This is a motion. Here, I'd like to emphasize that each kata has a setting called as sote to be realized. Take a look of the sote of the kata. Now, opponent start to attack, and I draw the sword and cut his arm. Then finally, thrust. Okay? So, we need to have a practice to realize this setting. And actually, when we realize a setting, we can obtain the wisdom and knowledge in kata. For example, take a look. I'm showing the technique behind the kata, a part in drawing the sword. Yeah. Can you see? He starts the attack, and I move to right side way. And his sword naturally be apart from me. His sword cannot reach me. If we obtain the correct technique in the kata, we can achieve it. Take a look again. Yeah, I don't touch him. His sword naturally be apart from me. And once obtaining the mind and body to realize the setting, we can comprehend and internalize the wisdom knowledge, including the kata. Then, the obtained wisdom and knowledge can be intrinsically expressed outside of the setting. I'm showing one example of the application of the technique in the drawing part. Okay, opponent, he tries to stick me by stick, but his stick cannot reach me. I'm using the technique I learned in the kata, like this. In this case, the opponent, he just feels, oh, I am suddenly disappeared. He loses the object. Such feeling he gets. As I introduced you before, each kata has its specific motion and action. In this case, for example, drawing the sword from the sheath. And each motion in kata has a setting. In this case, opponent starts to attack me. Then after that, I draw the sword and cut his arm, defeat him. Once we are able to realize this setting, we can verify the technique behind the motion. At that time, he started to attack me, but just turn right with the right hand. His sword spontaneously be apart from me, and at that time, I never touch him. It is naturally happened. And finally, once we internalize the wisdom, we can apply it out of the kata setting. Okay, question is, how to obtain the wisdom and knowledge of kata effective outside the setting? Here, I'd like to emphasize that the case, how to make it possible, is scientific approach. In science, we first need to identify objects or elements in a particular phenomenon and analyze the relationship between the elements to understand the phenomenon. Then, once the roles of elements and relationships among elements are determined, those roles and relationships do not change. If we try to understand kata by decomposing it into relationship between elements like science, it is hardly possible. Because the roles and relationships of elements in kata, such as right hand or eyes, etc., change even in the setting, of course out of the setting. The second reason is scientific wisdom and knowledge are effective and helpful, but that is only in the prerequisite of the setting. For example, in the case of experiment, the results obtained in laboratories can be reproduced in the experimental conditions set by the researcher. But there is no guarantee that they will be reproduced under different experimental conditions. Next example is a well-known physical theory, Newton's law of motion. This theory is only valid in Euclidean space. Okay? Scientific knowledge and wisdom are effective only in the prerequisite of the setting. That's why scientific approach make the kata into the manual. And as you know, the manual is only effective in the setting, usually, right? In that case, kata loses the wisdom and the knowledge and causing death of kata. In Japanese, keigaika. So kata loses the wisdom and knowledge by decomposing it into relationship between elements. So what is the case make it possible? It's a kata approach. if we try to comprehend and internalize kata itself without decomposing it into elements, but comprehend and internalize kata as the result of the action of individual body parts in whole mind and body balance, the feeling is kind of the sense of one as all and all as one, and also sense of integration of self-others. Such sense make it possible. This is kata approach. So here I summarize methodological characteristic of kata. First, a package that contains specific knowledge and wisdom. The second, a methodological tool for non-analytical comprehension and communication. Third, conservative and reproducible, right? Kata has a fixed motion and a setting. Everybody can do it, meaning it's conservative and reproducible. Fourth, loses value when decomposed into relationships between elements, as I told in the previous slide. And also, the fifth, a changeable definition for each element. Finally, intrinsic knowledge and wisdom are also effective outside the kata package, as I shown